During the aftermath of the Peloponnesian War in 404 BC, Sparta emerged as the dominant power in Greece, enjoying the support of numerous mainland Greek states and the Persian Empire. However, this support began to wane over time, leading to a fragmented base of allies. While Sparta reaped the benefits of victory, receiving the plunder from defeated states and tribute payments from the former Athenian Empire, their allies grew discontented. The tensions escalated when Sparta launched an attack on Elis in 402 BC, a member of the Peloponnesian League that had provoked Spartan anger during the Peloponnesian War. To make matters worse, Corinth and Thebes, two significant Greek states, refused to assist Sparta in its campaign against Elis. This alienation of allies and the refusal to cooperate marked a turning point in Sparta's dominance. To further complicate matters, in 398 BC, Sparta planned an expedition to Ionia, but Thebes, Corinth, and Athens once again refused to participate. The Thebans even went so far as to disrupt a sacrifice conducted by Spartan king Agesilaus in their territory, showing their opposition to Spartan actions. Despite the absence of these powerful states, Agesilaus led an effective campaign against the Persians in Lydia, advancing deep into their territory. Frustrated by their inability to defeat Agesilaus's army, the Persian satrap Pharnabazus resorted to stirring up trouble in mainland Greece. He dispatched Timocrates of Rhodes, an Asiatic Greek, to distribute a substantial sum of 10,000 gold darics, the main currency in Achaemenid coinage, to the major cities of Greece. The aim was to incite these cities to act against Sparta. Timocrates successfully persuaded influential factions in Athens, Thebes, Corinth, and Argos to adopt an anti-Spartan policy, using vast amounts of Persian money to fuel their animosity towards Sparta. As Agesilaus departed Asia, he famously remarked, "I have been driven out by 10,000 Persian archers," alluding to the immense sum of money paid to politicians in Athens and Thebes to instigate a war against Sparta. The Thebans, already harboring animosity towards their Spartan rivals, eagerly took up the task of bringing about a war. Hostilities in the Corinthian War began in 395 BC with raiding in northwestern Greece, eventually leading to a clash between Sparta and Thebes at the Battle of Haliartus, a Theban victory. In the wake of this battle, Athens, Thebes, Corinth, and Argos joined together to form an anti-Spartan alliance, with its forces commanded by a council at Corinth. With this backdrop of mounting tensions and Persian intervention, the stage was set for the Battle of Nemea, where the forces of Sparta would clash with their Greek adversaries. The Spartan army, numbering around 18,000 to 19,000 hoplites, formed the core of the Spartan force. Among them were 6,000 Spartan hoplites, renowned for their disciplined and elite status. The remaining hoplites were drawn from various states of the Peloponnesian League. The Eleans, Triphilians, Acrorians, and Laceonians contributed 3,000 soldiers, while Sicyon provided 1,500. Additionally, contingents from Epidaurus, Troezen, Hermione, and Haliaeus added at least 3,000 hoplites to the Spartan ranks. Supporting the hoplites were approximately 600 cavalry, 300 Cretan archers, and a contingent of at least 400 slingers from Margania, Letrini, and Amphidolia. On the opposing side, the Allied forces amassed approximately 24,000 hoplites, accompanied by their respective light troops. Thebes, Athens, and Argos each contributed a quarter of the Allied hoplite forces. Athens fielded 6,000 hoplites, Argos supplied around 7,000, and the Boeotians brought 5,000 soldiers. Corinth and Euboea added 3,000 troops each. The Allied cavalry consisted of 800 Boeotian horsemen, 600 Athenian cavalry, approximately 100 cavalrymen from Chalcis in Euboea, and around 50 cavalry from the Ozolian Locrians. As the armies meticulously prepared for the impending clash, the Spartan forces strategically positioned themselves with the renowned Spartan hoplites on the right flank. while their Peloponnesian League allies formed the left flank. However, the opposing coalition faced a challenge in deciding their own formation. The Athenians, desiring the esteemed right flank position, were compelled to yield to the Boeotians' demand, resulting in an arrangement where the Athenians faced the Spartans directly, while the Boeotians and their fellow allies confronted the Spartan allies. As the phalanxes neared each other, both sides skillfully executed a maneuver known as the shifting to the right. This maneuver was a customary tactic employed in hoplite battles, where soldiers would adjust their positions to the right, seeking the protective cover of their neighbors' shields. Consequently, by the time the two armies collided, both had extended beyond their adversaries' left flanks. This tactical positioning had a profound impact on the outcome of the battle, with the right flanks of both armies securing victories, while their left flanks faced defeat. Buoyed by their successful engagement against the Athenians, the Spartan forces swiftly redirected their attention to the soldiers from the allied right wing, who had imprudently pursued their own allies. The disciplined and cohesive Spartan phalanx, renowned for their formidable prowess, launched a fierce assault on the exposed sides of the Argives, Corinthians, and Boeotians, exacting a heavy toll upon their ranks. Accounts by Diodorus of Sicily indicate that the Spartans and their allies claimed a significant 2,800 enemy casualties, while suffering a comparably minimal loss of 1,100 men. Remarkably, Xenophon's records indicate that the Spartan losses were astonishingly low, with a mere 8 warriors falling in the course of the battle. The Battle of Nemea served as a testament to the superior tactics, discipline, and unity displayed by the Spartan army. Exploiting the strategic errors of their adversaries, they secured decisive victories on the battlefield, further enhancing their reputation as formidable warriors and reinforcing their dominance in ancient Greek warfare. Following the climactic Battle of Nemea, where the Spartans showcased their indomitable spirit, their triumph was tempered by their inability to breach the formidable defenses of Corinth and access central Greece. Forced to abandon their ambitious plans, the Spartan forces retreated to their homeland, still clinging to their dominant position in the region. Meanwhile, the Allied army, comprised of Greek city-states, enjoyed a brief respite after the Battle of Nemea. However, their tranquility was short-lived, as they soon found themselves entangled in yet another momentous clash. Later in the same year, the Allied forces confronted their Spartan adversaries once again, this time at the Battle of Coronea. These two battles, Nemea and Coronea, emerged as the sole instances of large-scale land warfare in the protracted conflict. The war itself raged on for several more years, ultimately culminating in 386 BC. Though land battles remained limited, the war's course was shaped by a multitude of conflicts and political maneuvers as Greek city-states vied for power and influence in the tumultuous aftermath of the Peloponnesian War. The Battle of Nemea, despite its inconclusive outcome, served as a pivotal moment in the enduring struggle for supremacy among the Greek city-states. Although the Spartans fell short of their immediate objectives, their reputation as formidable warriors endured. As the war unfolded, the competing factions would be tested, their resolve and strategies challenged, all in their relentless pursuit of securing their interests and asserting dominance in the ancient Greek world. In the tumultuous era of ancient Greece, the Corinthian War raged on. Following the intense Battle of Nemea, the city-states of Thebes, Argos, Corinth, and Athens, fueled by Persian support, stood united against the intervention of Spartan forces in Locris and Phocis. It was in this backdrop that Agesilaus, the Spartan king, found himself engaged in a fierce campaign against the Persians in Ionia. However, as hostilities erupted, he was urgently summoned back with his forces to face a new challenge on Greek soil. With unwavering determination, Agesilaus embarks on a grueling overland march through Thrace and central Greece, marching towards the Peloponnese. However, as he sets foot in Boeotia, a formidable force awaits him. Before him stands a resolute army, an alliance forged from Thebans, Boeotians, and Argives, their hearts burning with a shared cause. Joined by warriors from Athens, Corinthians, Euboea, and the Locrians, they stand united against the Spartan might. Facing Agesilaus were primarily Thebans, allied Boeotians, and Argives, forming a determined army. The alliance amassed an impressive force of 20,000 hoplites. In response, Agesilaus rallied 15,000 Spartan hoplites, supported by freed helots and loyal allies from the Peloponnese and Ionia. Though the cavalry forces were evenly matched, Agesilaus held a substantial advantage with his peltasts. As the tension reached its peak, the two opposing armies stood poised for the impending clash. Agesilaus, leading his forces with strategic precision, commanded the Spartans on the extreme right flank of his army. Next to them stood the veterans of the renowned 10,000, battle-hardened warriors with a formidable reputation. They were followed by the Asian Greeks, known for their skill in combat, and then the Phocians, ready to face their adversaries head-on. Finally, the Orchomenians held the left flank, prepared to defend their position. On the opposite side, the Thebans confronted the Orchomenians, while the Argives stood face to face with the mighty Spartans. The silence hung in the air as both armies awaited the crucial moment to unleash their fury. At a distance of approximately 200 meters, the Thebans let out a thunderous war cry and charged towards their foes with unwavering determination. Not far behind, the veterans of the 10,000 and the Asian Greeks surged forward with equal fervor, swiftly overwhelming the opposing troops in their path. The troops facing them, were thrown into disarray and fled in panic, even before the Spartans under Agesilaus could engage them. Meanwhile, the mercenaries near Agesilaus, deceived by the initial rout, believed the battle was won and presented him with a garland as a symbol of victory. However, the situation took an unexpected turn. News arrived that the Thebans had broken through the Orchomenians and were already pillaging the captured spoils from Asia at the baggage train. Agesilaus wasted no time, swiftly maneuvering his phalanx to confront the advancing Thebans, determined to halt their progress. In a fateful decision driven by his long-standing animosity towards Thebes, Agesilaus positioned his phalanx directly in the path of the desperate Thebans, rather than attacking them from the rear or flank. What unfolded was a harrowing spectacle, etching itself into the annals of hoplite warfare. Shield pressed upon shield as they grappled with each other, locked in a relentless struggle where lives were lost with each passing moment. Recounting the brutal encounter, Xenophon vividly described the scene, stating, "So shield pressed upon shield, they struggled, killed, and were killed in turn." In the end, a small group of Thebans managed to break through and make their way to Mount Helicon, but many others fell in their valiant attempt to reach safety. The battlefield bore witness to one of the bloodiest clashes in hoplite history, leaving an indelible mark on the participants and the history of ancient Greece. In the aftermath of the grueling battle, Agesilaus, though wounded, displayed his unwavering leadership as he was carried back to the phalanx. Moments later, a group of cavalry approached, delivering news that approximately 80 enemy soldiers had sought refuge in a nearby temple. Acting with magnanimity, Agesilaus issued orders for their safety, allowing them to depart freely and go wherever they desired. The following day, Agesilaus, despite his injuries, demonstrated his unwavering dedication to his troops. He commanded the polemarch Gailis to organize the army into battle formation once again. Recognizing acts of valor, Agesilaus bestowed well-deserved awards upon the brave soldiers who had shown exceptional courage on the battlefield. Additionally, he received a delegation from the Thebans, offering them an opportunity to collect their fallen comrades and pay their respects. With their duty fulfilled, the Spartan army withdrew to the region of Phocis before launching an invasion of Locris. However, tragedy struck during this campaign when the polemarch Gailis, a respected commander, met his untimely demise. Historical accounts, such as those of Diodorus Siculus, shed light on the staggering casualties suffered by both sides. The Boeotians and their allies endured a heavy toll, with more than 600 soldiers falling in battle, while the Spartans mourned the loss of approximately 350 of their own brave warriors. The outcome of the Battle of Coronea would not only shape the immediate aftermath, but also set the stage for further conflicts and military engagements in the Corinthian War. As the narrative continues, the next battle on the horizon would be the Battle of Lechaeum, which would further test the resolve and strategies of the competing factions as they sought to assert their dominance in the ancient Greek world. In 392 BC, Corinth was embroiled in a civil war that pitted pro-Spartan oligarchs against anti-Spartan Democrats. The Democrats emerged victorious, forcing the pro-Spartan faction into exile. These exiles, seeking to regain power, formed an alliance with Spartan forces in the region and seized control of Lechaeum, the strategic port of Corinth, situated on the Corinthian Gulf. They successfully defended the port against multiple attacks launched by the Democrats, who were supported by Theban and Argive forces. The exiles solidified their grip on Lechaeum, consolidating their position. Recognizing the significance of the situation, the Athenians dispatched a force led by Iphicrates, a skilled commander renowned for his expertise in leading peltasts, a type of light infantry. The Athenian presence aimed to bolster the defense of Corinth against the pro-Spartan exiles and their Spartan allies. Meanwhile, the Spartans and the exiles conducted raids on Corinthian territory from their stronghold in Lechaeum, causing further unrest and instability. In 391 BC, King Agesilaus of Sparta led a sizable Spartan army into the region, intensifying the conflict. The Spartans captured several key strongholds, tightening their grip on the area. The Athenians and their allies found themselves largely confined within the city walls of Corinth, facing a challenging situation. However, as the Spartans became complacent and negligent in their control of the region, an opportunity arose for the Athenians and their allies to turn the tide of the battle in their favor. The Battle of Lechaeum unfolded as a pivotal engagement between the Spartan forces and the Athenians in the Corinthian region. With Agesilaus leading the bulk of his army throughout Corinthian territory, he entrusted the defense of Lechaeum, Corinth's strategic port, to a substantial force. Notably, among this force were troops from the city of Amyclae, who were granted leave to participate in a religious festival. Seizing the opportunity presented by the absence of the Spartan commander, the Athenian leaders in Corinth, Iphicrates and Callias, devised a plan to exploit the vulnerable situation. They observed a Spartan Mora, a regiment consisting of 600 men, passing by the city with inadequate protection from peltasts and cavalry. Sensing their advantage, the Athenian hoplites formed up just outside Corinth, while the peltasts pursued the Spartan hoplites, launching volleys of javelins at them. The Spartan commander attempted to counter the peltasts' attacks by ordering some of his men to charge the Athenians. However, the peltasts skillfully evaded the Spartan hoplites, outrunning them and continuing to pelt them with javelins. As the Spartans turned to rejoin their unit, the peltasts persisted in their pursuit, inflicting casualties upon them. This cycle repeated several times, with the peltasts maintaining their advantage. Even when a group of Spartan cavalry arrived on the scene, the Spartan commander made the peculiar decision to have them keep pace with the hoplites rather than quickly engage the fleeing peltasts. This allowed the peltasts to continue their harassment, steadily wearing down the Spartans. Eventually, the retreating Spartans found themselves forced back to a hilltop overlooking Lechaeum. Recognizing their dire situation, the men stationed in Lechaeum took decisive action. They sailed out in small boats, coming as close as half a mile to the hill where their comrades were stranded. Meanwhile, the Athenian hoplites advanced, sensing victory. Witnessing the approaching hoplites and the aid arriving from Lechaeum, the Spartans broke ranks and fled toward the waiting boats. The peltasts pursued them relentlessly, harassing the retreating Spartans all the way. By the battle's end, approximately 250 of the 600 Spartan soldiers in the regiment had been killed. In the aftermath of the Battle of Lechaeum, the news of the Spartan defeat reverberated throughout Greece, leaving Agesilaus, the Spartan king, in a state of profound shock. Hastening back to Sparta, he had to grapple with the unexpected setback. Meanwhile, Iphicrates, the skilled Athenian commander, seized the opportunity to turn the tide of the conflict in favor of Athens. With Agesilaus absent, Iphicrates swiftly implemented a strategic counter-offensive. He launched successful raids against Spartan allies and skillfully recaptured 3 forts that had been previously seized by the Spartans near Corinth. These decisive actions weakened Spartan control in the region, bolstering the confidence of the Athenians and their allies. While the Spartans and their oligarchic allies managed to maintain their hold on Lechaeum, they were compelled to scale back their operations around Corinth. The Battle of Lechaeum served as a turning point, effectively putting an end to major fighting in the region. However, the consequences of the Corinthian War extended far beyond the immediate aftermath of the battle. Following the signing of the peace agreement, Persia and Sparta, as the architects of the settlement, capitalized on their gains. Persia, liberated from Athenian and Spartan interference, consolidated its control over the eastern Aegean, extending its reach by seizing Egypt and Cyprus. Meanwhile, Sparta, emboldened by its newly established position of power, exploited the autonomy clause of the peace agreement to dismantle potential threats to its dominance. Disloyal allies faced severe consequences, as exemplified by the partitioning of Mantinea into 5 separate villages. Under the leadership of Agesilaus, who advocated for an aggressive policy, Sparta embarked on ambitious campaigns that spanned from the Peloponnese to the distant Chalcidic Peninsula. Their control over mainland Greece remained unchallenged for another 16 years, until their fateful encounter with Thebes at the Battle of Leuctra. Simultaneously, the Corinthian War marked a resurgence of Athens as a formidable power in the Greek world. Having restored their walls and fleet, the Athenians turned their attention to expanding their influence beyond their borders. They established the Second Athenian League, a coalition of Aegean states, which enabled them to regain territories lost during their defeat in 404 BC. However, the mainland states refrained from interfering with Persia's dominion over Ionia, despite the long-standing call for Ionian Greeks' freedom. After enduring over a century of turmoil, Persia ruled over Ionia without disruption or intervention for more than 50 years, until the rise of Alexander the Great. The consequences of the Corinthian War echoed through the annals of history, shaping the trajectories of Greece's major powers and setting the stage for future conflicts and conquests.
On this channel, we are putting together narrative historical cinematic battles. Make sure to subscribe and thank you for watching. See you on the next one.